Hi friends, it's Julia. I'm here to share a layout that I created for 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life round 6. This is her sketch number 12 or day 12 of the sketches. Now for this layout, I'm using a ton of scraps and 6x6 papers. I had added to my original kit lots of 6x6 pads. I think I had 3, maybe 2 full pads, and then one was just scraps. And so I'm pulling those in to use them on this layout. I'm trying to follow along with the sketch fairly closely, but you know how that goes. If you guys know me, then you know that I tend to change things up to some degree. And so the original sketch did have something down the right-hand side. I don't remember what, but yeah, for me, it's going to be these 6x6 paper strips. And because they're not full 12 by 12, of course, you know, I have to make them span the gap there. So in doing that, the seam will be hidden by the paper that I'm going to put down those journal spots over to the right side that I had there. Those will span, those will be along there as well, and they will hide the seams. And then the photos, of course, will be across the middle as well. Now this one, if you saw in the very beginning, I had it laid out because I had pre-planned it. I got behind on my sketches and keeping up with the day to day. And so I found that if I prepared myself for the next day, as far as laying out the photos, the embellishments, maybe even the whole design of the layout, if I got it all laid out, then the next day when it was time to put everything together, it all went together really easily. And so that's what I've done here. Here I got out my trusty ruler. You guys know how I am about having my ruler and having most things straight. I don't always grab the ruler out, but occasionally I do. And this is one of those occasions. These journal spots are actually, they came in a binder, a spiral binder. I think they were from Making Memories about 1,000,000 years ago. They had all of these different shapes, and they're multiples of each of the shapes, like 4 or 5 of each shape of journal spot. And so, yeah, I went through my collection and pulled out 3 to use on with the kit. I have multiples in the kit, but I pulled 3 to use on this layout. And there I'm just putting those there. My photos are going to span that distance so that you can't tell that they are cut apart, if you will. So the photos themselves, we stopped. We had driven to my mother's house in North Mississippi, and on the way home, my daughter-in-law had gone online and found this cute little country store south of Jackson, Mississippi that she wanted to go to. So we stopped in there, and yeah, they had out beside the little place, it was like a little country store with all kinds of, you know, fruits and vegetables, craft items, homemade goods, all kinds of stuff in there. And then outside behind it, they had yard art, if you will. And so there were these huge chickens and huge roosters. This one that my son is standing beside is as tall as he is. He's 6 foot tall, and so this rooster is actually taller than him. And so they had them all over the place in varying sizes. They had all kinds of lawn ornaments and gadgets, and gizmos outside their little store. And it was really a lot of fun to walk around this place and look. So here, all of these little bits and pieces of scraps I have pulled out and cut down to 2x2 size, with the exception of it looks like one that I had previously cut it maybe as 1.5x2, but I'll get to use that as well. I'm pretty good about using up these tiny scraps, especially if it's from something that I absolutely love, then yes, I want to be able to use every single bit of it. And the only reason I am using my ruler along that edge is to kind of keep everything where it can be, even along that edge because I'm going to have another piece of that paper, um, another 2x2 square right in the center of where the photo is. I didn't span the distance all the way across. And originally I think I had some bits of the squares over on the right side, but for whatever reason I used my journal spots there to cover it up. And so I'll have a few left over that I had there originally when I had first laid everything out. Now these are my mind's eye scraps. The main collection that I started with in my kit was my mind's eye, and then I had these two 6x6 paper pads with paper in them, and then one with scraps in it, and all three were from my mind's eye. And so that's what I'm using here. One of those, I think maybe a mix of all the scraps that I had are going down on this page, which is a good thing because it always feels good, you know, to get those scraps used up. I was going to go around the edges of all of these scraps with some brown ink and distress them a little bit, and then I opted to change my mind. I wanted to get the layout done, and I felt like if I took the time to ink everything, then it would slow me down. And so, yeah, I just opted out on that. Those are the two little pieces, or I think three pieces that I have that I intended initially to use on that right side. And for whatever reason, I didn't. Now, this cork piece I've had in my stash for a long time. It's from Freckle Fawn. It's pretty old, and I'm glad that I'm finally being able to use it. Um, It's the last one that I have. I think I had a whole package of like 5 or 6 of them, and that's the very last one that I have. I layered up some circles that I had previously punched out that came from my color bins, and I am taking a wood veneer that I have, a little man wood veneer, and putting it up at the top. I really should have looked through my stash of wood veneer to see if I had a bird shape that maybe mimicked a chicken or a rooster. I don't think I have anything even remotely like that, but I should have had a look, but I opted not to. And then I put a little wood veneer arrow. And that's something that I have a ton added into this kit of arrows. And then the little potty people, I should have added in a ton or do a layout using a ton of those arrows in some way, shape, or form. And that little tab there is one that I had punched out from a scrap. And I'm going to put a black tab that I punched out as well behind it. And of all the things I'm going to ink up, it's the edge of that. I don't know. It's kind of random, I guess. And I'll add that black piece to make that pop out just a little bit more against that light background that it's on. Now that is a piece of a sticker. It almost is a stone look. And I wanted a little bit of gray pulled over to that other side. And so I just placed it there with the previous punched out tag. And so you can see I used the other part up at the top. And then I've got another gray piece of a tag that I'm going to add in. You can see it laying in that container over to the right. And I pulled a pun for this title. It actually says, "Why doesn't any man need more than one rooster? A cockle-doodle-doo." So, yeah, it's kind of hokey, I know, but it was super cute. And I think it'll be cute in his album when he's looking through that. He's going to remember that day pretty well. That's that other partial little gray tag that I pulled in to balance that gray out. And so it'll land right there. And I'm going to get it glued down. So I'm getting pretty close to the end of this layout. And I don't think I said it, but the base of this kit that I'm pulling this layout from was my October 2019 Counterfeit Kit Challenge Kit. It's one that I revisited this October of 2020 because I wasn't crazy about the inspiration kit, but this one works really well in its place. And so there's a stamped image that I just fussy cut out, and it's going up there because I have the wood veneer on the tag in the middle on the cork tag. I have the wood veneer at the end of the cock-a-doodle-doo. I wanted another guy in the layout to balance the three. And so I cut out the guy on the bike. I fussy cut him and put him up at the top. I'm using a couple of those enamel triangles to act as kind of like an arrow around the layout, and then I'm going to use some enamel dots and flat back pearls to finish off my finishing touches. I do have several photos at the end to give you a few close-ups of the embellishment clusters as well as the final layout. And I love how this layout came together, and I think it helps because the paper pads that I added in were some of my favorite. But you know, my mind's eye, pretty much anything my mind's eye is my favorite. And so I don't think they've ever put out a collection that I haven't loved. And that's just one of the companies that is almost an auto buy for me. And I especially love their older stuff. And they have been reintroducing it here recently. And my kit is based on a reintroduction of that kit, of that paper pad when they brought it back out, and it was at Tuesday morning. I purchased it again. Here's some little word stickers that I'm looking at that were left over from a previous kit that I had added in here from the same collection. And so I'm just trying to see how I like that there. And I don't really, so I'm just going to peel those right back up and put them back on my sheet for another try at another layout. This is layout number 12 for me, and I am still going strong. I still have tons of supplies in my kit. So make sure stay tuned, and you will see more layouts made with this kit from October 2019 revisited to 2020. Anyway, stay tuned for the close-ups, and I'll see you guys on the next layout. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.